Everybody out braving a windy, rainy day, but we're not going to complain about rain, are we? The flowers are loving it. We're going to have bluebonnets everywhere. Be beautiful. Okay. Washington County Commissioners Court is now in session Tuesday, March 4th, 2025 at 9 a.m. And Commissioner Corn, would you do the honors, please?
Yes, we have Deacon Al Prescott here from St. Mary's Church to lead us in our invocation.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Well, first of all, if I fail, I've got my rock next to me over here, and I'm right. Yeah, this morning, Sandy and I, while we were doing our morning prayer, the wind came up, and we looked out, and what we saw was a porta potty flying through the air. There's a house being built across the street, and that porta potty is now in our neighbor's yard. All right, so, yeah. But it's a beautiful day. This afternoon, all is clearing up, and yes, we're going to see the bluebonnet engine come up. All right, so let us pray. Eternal Father, I pray that you will give every county commissioner strength so that they do not grow weary in their leadership role. Father, the task may seem overwhelming and exhausting, but I pray that every county commissioner will recognize that they are assigned to do your will. Therefore, I know that at the right time, they will reap the harvest, the rewards, if they do not give up. Lord, I pray for divine strength for every county commissioner, and that they will not rely on themselves, but on you. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
To the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Item number 3, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of a proclamation proclaiming Faith Mission's 40th anniversary. 40th. Were you there for all those years, man?
I look like.
Yeah, I just thought. It could have been. Whereas Faith Mission has served the people of Washington County for 40 years by providing emergency services to those in need, including shelter, food, job training, university internships, case management, medical assistance, and other programs designed to provide a hand up. And whereas Faith Mission also serves the people of Washington County as the Emergency Volunteer Disaster Agency, providing services during major disasters such as Hurricane Katrina, Rita, Ike, and Harvey, as well as the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas Faith Mission has partnered with the Washington County Commissioners Court to provide the Health and Service Center, which includes the Community Health Clinic WIC program, State Health Services Department, County Indigent Program, Texas A&M Telehealth, and other holistic wraparound services. And whereas Faith Mission employs 40 to 45 workers, with 20 to 25 of them being in Faith Mission work training programs. Now therefore it be resolved that the Commissioners Court of Washington County does hereby proclaim February 25th, 2025 as Faith Mission and Help Center 40th Anniversary Recognition Day in Washington County.
I make a motion to approve the proclamation proclaiming Faith Mission's 40th anniversary.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Just a comment here before Reverend Wells has his say-so. The thing that has always impressed me so much about Faith Mission is you cannot throw them a problem or a disaster or a need, an emergency that they don't say yes to. We'll help. We'll help. And they're so willing to do it, and they do it so very well. And that's something we're just blessed in Washington County to have an organization like Faith Mission. Thank you very much. So,
Now, we're gonna put a limit on the time because, you know, I know that you like to visit, Mr. Wells, but would you like to say a few words?
Good morning. I tried to get out of this, but I couldn't. So, first, we want to thank this Commissioners Court and our previous Commissioners Court. Truly, the partnership between Faith Mission and Washington County is like none other in the country. And I'm going to ask our board members, our CEO, and all of our wonderful team members to stand that have filled the courthouse today. Some are already standing. And I just want to say in closing, a lot of times it seems like I'm the face and voice of Faith Mission, but these are the people who really make it happen. So teamwork makes the dream work, and every part of our organization is committed to the betterment of our county. I'm going to share something that I think many of them don't even know. In 2013, this Commissioners Court decided to do something very pioneering. They brought telehealth to Washington County. It was only the second county to be able to have it. And on last night, Texas A&M opened a brand new Health Institute building, and now there is actually a clinical booth on Texas A&M campus that's represented by Washington County and Faith Mission. They named it after some guy. I don't know why they did that, but they did that. But I just thank you so much for all that you do and all those who've been before us. I really wish the visionary, our CEO, would get up and say something, but he's waving at me, so I'm going to be obedient and just say thank you all, thank you all, thank you all.
Well, I will say one thing. I just want to thank you. We hear statements like you just made, Judge, and we appreciate that very much. But it goes both ways. This community is just amazing. Moved here over 50 years ago, and little did I know what was going to be happening in my life. And then a big change 23 years ago was Faith Mission, and what a blessing. We couldn't do anything without the support of both the institutions like the County Commissioners Court and the people in the community. They just rally around. You just ask, and here they come. Thank you.
So I will say when I first got here, JD was probably the face of Faith Mission for us in Commissioners Court, but a hurricane brought Mr. Wells in, and JD trained him up. And so I will say that there's a lot of history to that. There's a lot of great things that have happened with you two gentlemen at the helm of that organization. And I give Mr. Wells a hard time about speaking, but one time we were at a public speech, and he and I both had floor time, and I took his whole time. So it's been an ongoing joke with us. I like to speak too. So thank you so much for what Faith Mission does for this community, and all of the ministers. The Ministerial Alliance is a part of that. Those ministers have really helped us in this community. They come here and pray for us, for our Commissioners Court and our community every Tuesday, and we just really appreciate it.
Anyone else have anything? Well, you all need to come forward. Everyone with Faith Mission, come forward and proclamation. Hold that right now.
Look at Josh. Red camera. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You want to shout
Sarah? Yep, look up here. Bear with me a second. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right.
And the blue one's gonna step out to where they are.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
There we go.
No, that ain't even right. I'm just turned 40.
Yes. Thank you. We're proud of you. We appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Sarah, you didn't go to Brenham.
We're proud of you. We're glad to have you. Thank you.
Oh, that's right.
We do. We do, definitely.
Actually. Hello. 45, 54, actually. Well, I was gonna turn 54 around and say 45, but I
Nobody will believe it.
nobody will believe that.
Hair getting too gray.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I used to have about 6 years ago, it got dark here.
Yeah. I did too.
Okay, item number 4, presentation of quarterly report for Visit Brenham, Washington County. Ms. Eckerman, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for having us here today. In addition to our busy, normal fall and holiday season, our team was really busy with the November Geiger Media Tour and Smithsonian plans and hosting, both of which I'll cover a little bit more towards the end. Let's see how I'm going to do this. Let me get used to.
Scroll down.
Scroll up. Okay. I'm sorry, you guys.
It's all right.
We'll get there. Okay. Oh, thank you. All righty. Okay.
There we
Sorry,
go.
I warned Carly, I'm technologically challenged. We continue.
I believe you held it down a little too
Whoop,
long.
I did. Apologize. Okay,
Pretty
get it.
sensitive, huh?
Okay, so, all right. We continue to staff tours at the Fire Museum, including on Saturdays. It's just a very popular attraction, and the fire department wasn't able to do that anymore, so we took that over. We do that at the Fire Museum, including Saturday, and do group tours for this popular attraction. And the group also assists with events and ticket sales at the Barnhill Center. Work never really ends on website updates and writing and updating blogs on the visitbrenhamtexas.com website, and a distribution plan for 2025. Visitor guides was developed during this quarter. Tens of thousands of visitor guides are sent across the state at the beginning of the year to help get word out about what we have to offer in Brenham and Washington County. So sorry. Between other duties, the team assembled 2,000 visitor bags for the Smithsonian and developed a volunteer program to staff the Smithsonian and Simon exhibits. In the city of Brenham, we ended 2024 with 93 short-term rental properties within the city limits, and that includes our hotels. The website analytics for visitbrenhamtexas.com continue to be pretty phenomenal. Ooh-wee, I'm about ready to just give this up.
The arrow key down, does that help? Does that take it down? There you go.
Okay, all right. Website views for the quarter were more than 190,000, up around 28% over 2023. And all of our visitor center numbers increased as well over the same quarter the previous year. Our monthly newsletter subscribers continue to climb, and the open rate of 36 to 40% is exceptional when looking at the industry average of 12 to 15%. We continue to do these happenings this week flyer. We have on one side the events that are coming up during that week, and then on the other side, the events that are coming up in the next few months. Our highlights for the year include a record number of website views, more than 940,000, or an 8% increase. Staff started sending a quarterly tourism partner newsletter that includes the quarterly report so that we're able to keep all of our more than 300 tourism partners up to date on our activities. Our newsletter subscribers increased by 8%, and the Fire Museum visitors increased by 32%. We did complete an application process to be recognized as one of the first communities in the state to receive certification as a tourism-friendly Texas community. And although it's not official yet, we were accepted, so we're one of those first inaugural communities in the state. In our social media, our organic social media, in our organic social media posts, 2 Instagram videos led the way with more than 6,000 plays and 9 hours of watch time of those 15-second videos. Our top Facebook post had more than 16,000 impressions, which is each time content is displayed to a user. And we had more than 350,000 impressions in the first quarter, and our number of followers continues to climb. By the end of 2024, we had increased Instagram followers by 35% to more than 14,000, and Facebook followers by 12% to more than 26,000. For those of you who just love data, we can send you I'm looking at you. But we can send you a link to the full report, but I just want to give you a few highlights here for the quarter and for the year. It's a much longer report, but I just thought we'd save some time, and for anybody who wants it, so happy to share it. Our click-through rate, which is for search engine marketing, which is the strategy that helps businesses appear higher, helps our organization appear higher in the search engine results, averaged 18.32%, showing that we are reaching a high-quality user that's searching for things to do in Brenham and Washington County. This surpasses the Madden Media marketing benchmark by almost 10%. This year, our plan was to diversify our channels, the way we reach customers online, and to invest in brand awareness, which is proving successful by the increase in growth on our site. This quarter, our annual events ads were top performing, which is very typical. People are looking for things to do, and it's especially exciting for us to know that people are searching for things to do here. They're specifically mentioning Brenham or Washington County when they're searching, so that's a great thing for our tourism partners. 2024 highlights, we found, interestingly, that men were interacting more often, especially with video, and this was the inspiration for a wider audience diversification and more investment in building brand awareness this year. Last year, we invested in new videos, which led to a higher view rate, reaching 63%. And we consistently outperformed Madden industry standards of 56%. This led to our ads being displayed on TVs previously unavailable to us. At the end of the year, Madden built out new creative messaging for us, and the new tagline, "Where Texas Shines," and seasonally, "Where Texas Blooms," resonated with audience across the media channels, and so we are using that. It's become more of a plan of a part of our plan for 2025. Then I just share some print ads from the quarter. As always, Texas Highways and Texas Monthly are an important part of our advertising plan. Texas events calendar for winter is to the left, and we continue to keep our name out there with meeting planners and look for additional ways to reach potential overnight visitors. We use digital marketing to promote the Smithsonian hosting and all the activities that were being planned as part of that project. Then I have some bonus media to share, which promotes, we did some, these are some of the stories that ran during that quarter, and includes unpaid media coverage in Texas Monthly. The Houston Chronicle did a great story that's included there. It had a reach of 4 million. And then the coverage for the Smithsonian came with the Houston Chronicle and then was picked up by MSN, which together had a reach of more than 130 million. And then just some additional things that showed up. It's always nice to have that kind of reach when people are just covering things that we have to offer here to help get the word out. Just more and more of that, which is great to see. And more reach with things that we're finding more and more of this bonus media out there that is just, it's so good to see because it's not costing us a penny, but it means that the word is out and people like what they see and they want to cover it and help share that information with their readers. So the Barnhill Center, we had an excellent, for that last quarter of shows at the Barnhill, and during that time we began selling season tickets for 2025, and we had more than 235,000 in preseason sales, which was a record for us. Well, a good portion of late November and December had Morris Hall reserved for the Smithsonian and Simon exhibits. We were still able to host 21 event rentals. And we held a fundraising event at the Barnhill where we raised more than $126,000 towards improvements to the facility. And as you've been hearing and we've been working worked on for about 18 months, we hosted the Smithsonian Crossroads Change in Rural America exhibit, December 7th through January 19th. We developed as you know, we developed two permanent exhibits about freedom colonies in Washington County, the one downtown in Bells Alley and then in Camptown. So those are two things that just because the Smithsonian's gone doesn't mean the impact isn't living on. So we're so pleased to have done this and hope it grows. We hope to tell more of the stories of the many freedom colonies in the county. We also, of course, had developed a Century of Simon exhibit, which was so popular. We still have people trying to figure out when they can see it. Where is it going to be next? It's like it was always planned to be a temporary exhibit, but we're trying to find some places it could go. I don't know if you saw it. You know, it's quite a large exhibit, so it's not let's just pop it up here and there. So we're still trying to figure out. We may have it at one of the banks on display over the summer, and we'll have it again during this special anniversary year that we're celebrating in 2025. But overall, I feel confident in saying that your Visit Brenham team set the standard for hosting the Smithsonian in Texas for years to come. While our visitation of almost 3,500 was admittedly less than we were hoping, due to weather and the Christmas holiday, we're excited about what this meant for tourism. Between the 25 groups of more than 870 visitors who came, to the amazing coverage of our hosting during this time and the permanent exhibits. The partnerships and programming that was developed is one of the things that will last for years to come, including the work that we did with the Washington County Historical Commission to update the Markers Guide, and also the Washington County Sound Walk experience that we worked on with all of our community partners. So that is something also that can grow, but it gives all of our partner communities something to promote all year long. It's an outdoor activity, and so that's one of the things that we were the most pleased about for long-term impact. We had a volunteer appreciation event to thank all of our volunteers. We had more than 45 volunteers who assisted us in covering 76 shifts over that time period of the hosting. And we gave them a little thank you. We also had a tote bag that we gave them. And we have some of these to share with y'all because we appreciate what y'all support throughout this and thought you might enjoy seeing some of the things that came from it. We have copies of each of the different brochures in there. So we appreciate y'all's support and look forward to kind of watching and seeing how these other projects and activities continue to impact our communities. Also wanted to take a minute to give y'all a quick update on the Geiger Media Tour that you all supported and matched the city's commitment. But we had 13 journalists visited in November along with Geiger staff, and they began their time here with an opening reception at Antique Rose Emporium, and they visited sites throughout Washington County based on 2 different tracks. There was one track for agriculture and one track for history. And so the journalists were able to pick what they were interested in, the sites they were interested in. And we do have some great early coverage from that. I also have I didn't bring copies, Commissioner Hanna, but I can send a link too for first quarter report on how that group is doing and the coverage that we're getting. But just a few things for us, and I think I mentioned this when we talked about, when we requested some assistance and funding, that that for us, it's great to have a story in the New York Times or whatever, across the country, but the things that we know impact are the things that are within driving distance to us. And so when we see things like these early placements in Houston Style Magazine, in AAA, Explore, we know that we're reaching people, that this is already being impactful. And then just recently in Southern Living, they did we were included in a story they did about the 5 best places to find spring wildflowers in Texas. So they're covering our county, they're covering our partner communities, and we expect just to see more and more of that as time goes by. We know that a AAA Explore Texas magazine has a story coming out in spring, and that has, I think, more than 1 million subscribers. And then we also have a story that will be in the Texas Co-op Power magazine. So we're excited about the success that we're having with Geiger. And again, I have those reports that I can send a link to also, and I could send that maybe to Carly if she could send out both of those links to let y'all know more. So thank you so much. We appreciate all y'all's support in accomplishing some of the work that we're doing over there, and we all love what we do and appreciate the opportunity to share with you.
Second, I just want to point out something.
Yes.
The facts and figures are right here, and we believe all. But I'll tell you, the proof is in the pudding, as they always say. Every Friday, down here, when I leave this courthouse, 5 or so, there are so many people walking these streets. They're not from Brenham, I'll assure you.
Yeah.
They're looking, they're walking, they're looking, and enjoying themselves. You can just tell they're having a good time. All the businesses are busy. And then again on Saturday, you can't hardly find a parking place down there. You think they're having jury selection day or something.
That's right.
Here in the courthouse, because there's not a parking place down here on the Friday or Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon. So great job.
Well,
Thank
I tell you, I think that we are really fortunate because we have a lot to offer all over this county and things that people want to see and do, and it's support, and it's economic development. It's impacting businesses and helping our tourism partners. So we're really pleased and happy to be a part of it.
Hard work is paying off.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And we also want to thank all those businesses downtown and in our community that provide places for these people to go. The private sector has really stepped up what they do, not only for downtown, but all over our county. So we thank those business owners for what they do.
Yeah, couldn't do it without them.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item number 5, discuss and possibly act upon approval of pending Washington County Expo rental regulations contracts. This morning we have 3 of those. There is the Texas Carnival Glass event, and an 80th birthday, and pigs laying over for Houston and Austin. Thank you for putting it so succinctly. There's a rest over for the people going to Houston to show their pigs, and then again to Austin. So, okay, those are the 3 events. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the pending Washington County Expo rental regulation contracts and authorize the judge to sign it.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Item number 6, discuss and act upon the approval of a property access agreement between Washington County and Bertie May Summerfield for a drainage project along Lomax Harmel Road, Precinct 4. Mr. Stoltz?
Morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Yeah, so what we have here is we have a property access agreement which would allow us to do a little bit of work in terms of a transition into a big project that we're doing over there. There was an old bridge that we actually expedited given the condition, and we've been installing the culverts through there, but really what it is right on the other side of the property right-of-way line. We really want to make that transition better. And the whole point is the culverts are in great shape, but we want to make sure that water flows freely in there and doesn't get backed up. And what we need to do in that one is we have to have a nice transition between the private side and the public side. So what this is we can get 20 foot and we can get that transition nice and clean, get the water moving, free flowing, and out there.
Oh, we appreciate Ms. Summerfield allowing us to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly. She's already signed it, so it is approved. Okay.
I make a motion to approve the property access agreement between Washington County and Ms. Bertie May Summerfield for a drainage project along Lomax Harmel, Precinct 4.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, presentation of Engineering Development Services quarterly report.
Yes, we've got quite a bit here, so I'm going to try and hit the high notes. If there's anything you want me to go into detail, just let me know, and I can do so. But what we have here is we've got. Let's go ahead and start with our work orders for the quarter, which spans from the back end of November into the rear end of February of when this report was written. We have 240 work orders that were updated in the first quarter / the back end of 2024. In Appendix B of the report, you'll actually see the full details of each one of those in case you want to see exactly what we've been kind of working on with those. Let's see here. The OSSF, which is the septic permits for 2025, we have 43 to date. In 2024, there was 36 through February. So we have a slight uptick on that regard, but at the same time, it's generally kind of a little bit slower in the winter months and it starts to ramp up later in the season. So we'll see how that ends up coming through. We have the spring cleanup going on this week and next week. So let everybody know that we've broken it up into 2 major sections of the populations of Washington County. The City of Brenham residents are going to be this week from the 6th to the 8th. And then unincorporated / any other incorporated areas of the county is going to be next week, next Thursday through Saturday. So make sure that everybody knows we got 500 pounds per household that they can bring out. Let's see here. We have addresses. We have 40 addresses that have been installed to date that have been given. There was 49 through March of last year. With those reports, we end up going to BVCOG, so those end up going through the March timeframe. So we're probably a little bit ahead of where we were in 2024, but not too far off of pace from what we had last year. All right, so some subdivision status changes. We haven't had any big subdivisions from the standpoint of new infrastructure so far this year, which that could be good or bad depending on which way you want to look at it. But we've had a lot of replats, which has mainly been combinations of lots. Hey, I want to have a bigger lot, or I want to have a little bit smaller lot, or configure the lot line. So we've had 3 of those. You're going to be seeing those next week. We have to do a 30-day notice on those, which is going to be coming due next week. So you'll see a few of those. There is a few of them that we've been in coordination with for feasibility studies that are going to be much, much larger than we've seen. that may or may not happen. We're going to see, but it's a possibility that those may come down the plate this year or maybe next, possibly. We do have a few projects that are in the one-year maintenance phase that you'll see in the report. Those typically all kind of bunch together towards the spring time frame from last year going into this year. So we've been in coordination with a lot of contractors and developers to make sure that those projects are going to be able to meet the county standards before we bring them to you. But we've been working and coordinating with them to get those ready. All right, base purchases for 2025. This is a breakdown, I guess you see, from 2022 on. For 2025, we've been rocking and rolling with this. We've already received 14,511 tons of material, which is a very substantial amount of material already at this point. That just means that, hey, we're getting it early. We have it ready to go. We're probably going to have to cut off. Typically, we generally stop around the November time frame in past years. If this keeps pace, we'll probably have to shut it off a little bit early. But hey, what we do is we get the material necessary for our paving projects as well as maintaining our roadways. And if we get it earlier, great. So we're going good there. Let's see here, the paving progress for the year. We've been working a little bit through the winter to get those roads ready to go. We're always very cognizant of which roads we're going to tear up during the winter because it's going to be a little time before we end up putting pavement on it, and we have to be very conscientious of which roads we do. We have about 4 miles of road that is ready to pave now. So as soon as we start getting some warmer weather hitting consistently, which I'm hoping is going to be this month, we're going to see. We're going to be kind of watching the forecast. We're going to be ready to rock and roll on those and keep moving throughout the year. But we have 4 miles ready to go. Let's see here. Driveway culvert installations. We have 33 culverts that have been set to date for this year, which would allude to 198 if there was a linear progression throughout the rest of the year, which of course there won't be, but we have to extrapolate somehow. In 2024, we concluded with 124, and on 2023 it was 104. So there is a little bit of a increase that we've seen, but we'll see throughout the year where we end up coming out. So from the last report, we have collected $20,200 in driveway fees on that one, which of course just goes back to compensate the county for the material that we acquire to put down. So we've got a little bit of compensation for those projects. Drainage projects. These have kind of been our big boys that we've been working on through the winter here. The first of which is on Willow Springs. This was a very, very deep project. And the big problem we had in it was about 25 foot, relatively narrow right-of-way. So what ended up happening is the county's been talking about this project for a very long time because it's a sheer drop-off. Last year, there was actually undermining during those significant flooding events in January, February, where they actually went all the way under. The big concern there is if someone wasn't paying attention, there was undermining, they're not just going to run off the road. They're going to go 25 foot into a drainage area and possibly lose their life. So we wanted to kind of move this project up, get this taken care of. But this was a very big project, very exciting project for us, and we always kind of like to see these big construction projects come down the line. But it was very successful. The only thing we have left to do out there is mainly just maintain the erosion, get vegetation established going into the spring. But the roadway is open for some paving work that we're going to be doing later on in the year. The next on this one is the Lomax Harmel Bridge, which is I just discussed a minute ago, which is at the Cedar Creek tributary, which is just northwest of Harmon School Road. This is that bridge. You can kind of see some of the pre-construction photos. What you'll notice there is some of the pilings there are very heavily eroded, very minimal structural support in those areas. 4 of which were still in decent condition, but at the same time, it did move it up into an emergency category where we wanted to get it done very, very quickly. So we do have our box culverts installed. The roadway is open. We do need to do a little bit of work on primarily the inlet side to make sure that it's free flowing and that we have good conditions for water flow for any storms that we have, especially in the spring coming up. But very exciting project. So we got knocked out and we're ready to move on to the next 2, which I'll elaborate more in detail in the next quarterly report. All right, fleet replacement progress. We did order those 12 vehicles to get out of the rental program and actually get more into the long-term benefit of the acquiring and maintaining in-house. So we have 12 of those, 4 of which are in place. We're in constant contact with the vendor, and they are saying that they're going to be delivering very shortly. So we're expecting to have those in and get the other ones replaced out very, very soon. So we're no longer going to be making any additional payments on that. Let's see here, the equipment update. We did receive the 20-foot flatbed trailer, which really the benefit we're looking at on that one is we want to be more mobile, we want to be more flexible, and really when it came down to last year, there was a lot of areas that we really needed to go touch up. but at the same time, our trailer is pulled by essentially an 18-wheeler, right? We want to be able to say, hey, look, equipment operator 1, you don't have a CDL, go jump on that, go load it up on over here with a skid steer or with a mower, and just go knock that out, and let's keep moving. So this is going to be able to allow us to be a little bit more efficient and time sensitive for especially projects where residents are calling and saying, hey, look, we need this area to be addressed. We're not looking at big time stuff. We can just go knock it out and move on. So that one's come in. We're very excited to be able to put that one into use this year. We've already been using it pretty heavily with culverts we've been working on this winter. We've been working with the maintenance department and gov deals for some vehicles and equipment we've pretty much pulled every drop we possibly can from these. We're ready to kind of move forward with those. They are on the website, but they are not listed yet. So they are not publicly viewable yet, but all the data has been gathered. It's all ready to go, pending that they move forward from there. So we're ready to kind of start getting some of that older stuff that's not really of any use to the county more out of our hands. All right, let's see here. The EMS Station 2 tower felling. This was a really cool project we got to do with EMS. We were really excited about this one. So there was a little bit of space that was necessary that we needed over at EMS Station 2. So we worked in conjunction with EMS, and you can kind of see some photos of us decoupling from the primary tower, which is still in place, and bringing that bad boy down. It was actually a really fun project, really cool project we got to do. Let's see here. So one of the things we talked about last year was we really got hit kind of at a very inopportune time with a lot of rain during the summer, which means we went and shredded, and I mean that stuff grew back in 2 weeks. And people literally would say, hey, you haven't cut yet. No, we did. It's already back. So what we talked about was we really need to start targeting more of our high growth areas, and really that is going to primarily be the Johnson grass for the vast majority of the county. So what we did was we had our herbicide rig worked up, retrofitted to a chassis where it's on a skid that can easily be loaded or unloaded, so we can have multi-use for that chassis. And we're ready to go for the spring season, and it's all calibrated, ready to go. We're excited to start that new process. So it should move pretty quick, but we're going to move fast. One thing to note is that I think everyone's heard about the Georgia cane. Georgia cane has been a long-standing deal, and I feel like that stuff has been spreading like wildfire across the county. We've been working with an herbicide company on that to try a new spot application process. We're actually going to be pushing it out this year. I don't know if it's going to be countywide because it's going to be purely based off of budget, what we can put towards it. But our whole mentality on this is that we need to start getting control of this before it gets further down the road. So we're going to start working with something along those lines to start putting out it's a mixture. It's kind of a Georgia cane, if anyone's ever dealt with it, is a very hard thing to kill off. They've dealt with it in other counties, and we're going to give it a shot this year and see how it does. But I do think it's going to probably be a multi-year application. That stuff is very resilient. But we're excited to try something new and see if we can't get some progress on that. The Sheriff Station storage building pad, they're going to be putting in a new storage container in the back, I think for tires and things like that, to get that out of their shop. So we went ahead and built a storage pad over there for them and a little driveway, so that way it kind of keeps it out of their area. So it's ready to go. As soon as they get their new container, they'll have it ready to go. They'll have their pad ready and set. That is done. Equipment repairs. So one of the ones that I think I've talked about with a couple of you is the old distributor truck, which is a very niche piece of equipment for our paving operations. We had a little bit of damage to it last year, and that was one of the ones that we worked with a vendor this year and was like, hey, look, we are on a deadline. We will not push past this deadline. This is it. They succeeded. We have it in our possession. It is back. The only thing we have left to do is calibrate. We've already done our testing for its practicability and actual operation. We just need to have our calibration in place, but we are a go for paving on that, so we're very excited to have it back in our hands and one less thing that we can check off our box. So, and also that was paid through insurance, so that did not come out of taxpayer side on that. All right, so one other thing we have is on our Road and Bridge division on our website for EDS. We have a new web. We have a new mapping system that landowners, citizens can use. A few things that have been added to this one additionally is the countywide water well reports. And one thing that if you're a resident or if you're a future resident that's looking for a water well, one of the big questions that if you go to a water well driller is going to be, how deep do I need to go? One of the things that we kind of like to tell people is, hey, look, you can pull up this map and you can look at what all the surrounding wells were drilled at. And if that doesn't tell you exactly what your well is going to be, but hey, look, if all of your neighbors are 130 foot, you can expect that you're going to be somewhere around 130-foot range, right? So it's going to be able to help some of our residents whenever they're drilling wells to be able to see what those are. And those are countywide reports. So we're excited to have that on there. School districts have been added, voting boundaries, fire department boundaries, pipelines, overhead electric. The whole point is it's kind of a one-stop shop. We're trying to make this for any existing residents, future residents, developers, whoever it may be, to have as much information as they possibly can for their use and future planning. Along with that, utility locations, that's something we've kind of talked about. Maybe I think was it last week or the week before. We've actually been reaching out to a lot of the utility providers in the area, whether it be fiber, water, etc. And we've already started to get some of that data in. We're in collaboration with a few others to make sure we get as much as we possibly can, but we are actually going to input that as well in the future. One of the things that I think is a big deal right now is, can I work from home, right? And can you or can you not depends on where what infrastructure is in place, right? So if we end up having that for future residents to be able to determine where they need to live, I think that's a huge benefit. And not to mention, we're actually doing that project, which I'm not directly involved with, but I think will be a great benefit to also residents around that are existing, which is great. All right, street mapping project. This is more of a teaser, I think. I'm really excited to bring this. We're going to bring it in budget. But it's a very minimal capital cost investment, very, very small capital cost investment, and no recurring cost. But I think it's going to be really, really neat. I'm very, very excited to bring this one over to you guys. It's not only going to bring benefit to the EDS department for road condition assessments, but also multidisciplinary. You can see what ends up taking place across the entire county on an annual basis. So we're pretty excited to see this one come through. We'll give you some more details as we're putting together our project. FEMA's been very, very good. We've been working with this one for I guess it's been 8 months now, 9 months, and we meet generally every week or every 2 weeks for all of our applications. We have 5 applications in. Whenever this report was written last week, we only had 1 that was approved, and we have since now approved a second one, so we are 2/5 of the way done. The first one is $5,200 coming back to us. The second one is $34,000. We've got some more big ones that are coming down the plate, but we're excited to have some FEMA funds come back for compensation for all the projects that we had last year and all the cleanup. Let's see here, trainings and certifications. We've had a few code enforcement and aerobic maintenance trainings that we've had, but also one of the things that we talked about a couple years ago was the CDL education program. What that is that allows, if anyone doesn't know, CDLs have become a little bit harder to get. Right, there was a new law that was passed a few years ago, which means your pool of CDL applicants is going to be diminished. Right, there's a much more costly and time-sensitive process that goes along with this. We do have 2 that have already gone through the course that we're very excited to have them on board, and we've actually got a few more that are going to be coming down the plate later this year to get their CDLs. But that has been very fruitful for us thus far. We've already got 2 down the line. We can retain good employees. Let's see here, oil and gas permits. One thing that we noted in 2024 is there's a little bit less than what we saw in 21, 22, 23. That's a little bit of a consistent trend that we're also seeing right now. We've only had 1 thus far, which, good or bad, it depends on which way you want to look at it. But at the same time, we've only had 1 thus far.
It's going to happen. They're coming.
It will, but at the same time, right now, it's still a bit slower. All right, the bridge AFAs. I'm not going to go through all these because it's pretty similar to what we talked about last time. With the only difference is that we do have those resolutions approved for the new ones, the Tiger Point and the Caney Creek. So those are in Austin, but they're going to be getting those contract documents back to us, and when they do, we'll review them and bring them to you for approval, and we can have those ready to go. So the Wonder Hill Road Culvert EMP, which is on there that is the last remaining EMP for the 5 bridges we need to do. That one's going to be started in March of this year. So it's going to be started in the next couple weeks. We are going to be watching weather because you never know what's going to be happening in spring, but we're planning on having that one done and wrapped up 1st of April and start the back end of this month. So we're ready to have that one done off our plate. Another big news, the MIT-MOD project, the CDBG side. That one has finally been approved. Yes. Yeah, we are very excited about that one. We submitted that one in July of 2023. and we are officially good to go. We're awaiting our contract documents for signatures, but everything has been approved through them. So we're very excited to get that project going because it's going to benefit pretty much everybody on the eastern side of the county. And so we're very, very happy to get that project going and started. We already have our design contract in place. We have our grant administrator working with us on this. So we'll keep you involved through the right-of-way acquisition process, the design process on this. But it's going to be a very, very big project for the county, and we're very excited to get this one going. But that's kind of our highlights that we have. And if there's any questions, just let me know.
You saved the best for last.
Yes. Yeah.
That has been on everyone's plate for a long time.
Yes. We've been working with the GLO for quite a while, and look, they've been good to work with, but there's a lot of red tape you got to go through, and we broke through it.
GLO presented a mock check to us at the court at the Capitol last Wednesday. Commissioner Hannah and I were there, and they gave us took photos of us. I hope we know it's right. I don't know if we don't know if we can deposit that one or not.
I don't know if we can deposit that one, but
anyway, it was exciting to get.
Yeah, it'd be hard to take it back now.
Yeah, it'd be a little hard. Yeah, we get photographic evidence.
Proof.
Okay, well, thanks for that.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Item number 8, discuss and possibly act on declaring miscellaneous items surplus property and approval for sale through GovDeals, the county's online auction service, according to local government code 263.152. Mr. Braven.
Judge, Commissioners, good morning. This is pretty much standard items. I'd like to go over with you real quick. A lot of sofas from EMS 1 when they were replaced year before last. Computers, hard drives, TV monitors, that's countywide. That's stored in the old Road and Bridge Department Constable's office. Some old office chairs, consoles from when they get the new ambulances in and they put their new stuff in, we end up with 2 brand new consoles. So we like to sell those. The EMS also had a lot of old stretchers, some backboards and CPR boards that they're no longer using. 1 old office desk, 2 16-foot dry erase boards, 4 Tahoes from the Sheriff's Department, and they range between 98 and 147,000 miles. They became very costly to keep the maintenance upon them, so we'd like to sell those. And those usually sell for a pretty good price. 11 filing cabinets that was in the jail records room. We want to sell all those. And the metal shelving that was in the ATS building, the interior of the ATS building, and also the stuff that was in the IT storage area. I'd like to sell those. Any questions?
No, I think it just needs to be noted that the metal shelving is retail shelving. It's not something to store records on because we're using all of that shelving for the records.
Anybody needs retail shelving is good
the
stuff.
additional shelving that we had left over will be moved to the other records building as we discussed.
Good. Okay.
I make a motion to approve declaring miscellaneous items surplus property and approval to sell through GovDeals, the county's online auction service, according to the local government code 263.152.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 9, discuss and act upon approval of SGR Strategic Government Resources, Inc. for executive search consulting and related services through TextShare Master Services Agreement number 2024-019.
Judge, Mr. Mallory is here from SGR.
Oh, there he is. Okay, I'm sorry. I looked around. Saw you earlier. Couldn't see you behind there.
Yeah, I snuck in.
There you go.
So good morning, Judge
Good morning.
and Commissioners. Good to be back with you. And this is the formal proposal that is in accordance with what we talked about last time I was with you and is based on our agreement with the TextShare so that you can buy off of that contract because it's already been competitively bid. And so we look forward to working with you and getting this started.
Very good.
Now, one thing to be noted is your presentation was one slide. definitely appreciated, but it was definitely thorough. Sometimes people bring us 1,000 slides, and it's not as thorough as that, so really appreciate that effort.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Very simple to follow the circle. That was very, very well done. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
I make a motion to approve SGR, Strategic Government Resources Incorporated, for executive search, counseling, and related services through TechShare Master Services Agreement number 2024-019.
So move.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Court.
Item number 10, discuss and act upon approval of Washington County purchasing policy.
Well, this has been a long time in the making, to
Well, I
say the
guess so. It
least.
took a long time just to print it.
It did, yes. So this is just a helpful guide to purchasing and the rules to follow, the limits and things like that. It also has all the guidelines for the bidding process, RFQs, with statutes in the back. I think it will be very beneficial to the county. And I want to say there was a lot of players involved in it, and I do appreciate their input and their help throughout the process.
It spells out everything very clearly. I don't know if there can be any misconception or misunderstanding of what this policy does.
For somebody with no experience reading it, it was very clear to me. So for somebody that is in the business, they ought to get it. It was good.
I make a motion to approve the Washington County purchasing policy.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of accounts payable. Ms. Kramer?
Good morning. Today, we will be paying $415,478.58 worth of bills. The majority of that goes for supplies and all the road and bridge kind of things that they have to have, but the rest of it is regular maintenance type things.
Looks like a lot of road base.
Yep, a lot of road base.
Yep.
Getting ready.
I make a motion to approve accounts payable.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned.
Sir?